Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to talk about JavaScript programming. So first we will understand what is the need of JavaScript, what JavaScript specially do with web pages. Then we will discuss JavaScript actual programming, and then later on we will discuss use cases of JavaScript while making dynamic web pages. So basically JavaScript is used to create dynamic web pages. Okay, if you want to create static web pages, yes, you can do with HTML and CSS only. HTML and CSS. But if you want to show or hide the element based on certain actions by the user, means when user clicks on button, click, or whenever user moves mouse on over, so mouse over or mouse out, or when your web page loading is finished, so on load. So these are the events performed by the user, and if you want to perform certain action, if you want to change the content based on user's action, you need JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript help us to make the web pages interactive. It is a client side scripting. Client side means there are two types of web pages, dynamic web pages. First one is client side scripting, okay, and second one is server side scripting. Server side scripting. Second is client side scripting. Okay, so JavaScript can be used on both the sides, but whenever you have to make the changes in your web pages, we would prefer this only, client side scripting. Scripting is nothing but it it is used like or it is executed like a text. Okay, it do not require compilation and runtime environment and all to execute this code. So to execute the JavaScript, every browser has JS engine, JavaScript engine. So JavaScript engine will automatically compile the code and execute the code on browser only. Yeah, for that you don't need internet connection, you don't need anything else. You don't need to install anything to run the JavaScript on your computer. If I talk about JavaScript, so here you can see what are the different things I'm going to cover in this video. So this is the content. Let me clear the screen. You can see here that, so I just talked on why JavaScript is required, right, to make the web pages interactive by doing programming or by writing a script on client side. So JavaScript is introduced in 1995 by Brandon H. The person whose name is Brandon H. This is the person who has introduced JavaScript first time in 1995. And initially it is only created for the web pages, but later on JavaScript is progressed in different areas, and now this JavaScript is exist, or JavaScript can be used for machine learning also. It can be used in mobile application, it can be used for smartwatches, for game development, or if you want to create a server side or web application, you can use the JavaScript. But initially it is just introduced for web pages, which was running on the browser only by using JavaScript engine. When JavaScript is created, it's it was named as a live script, and later on it changed to JavaScript. It has a very similar syntax with Java programming, but Java needs compilation and runtime environment to execute, and JavaScript do not need any runtime environment or any special compilation engine to execute. It is executed on the browser itself. So this is what about the JavaScript. JavaScript, as I said, JavaScript can be used in web application or in the machine learning or to create a server side application. If you want to create a game, yes, JavaScript can be used. If you want to create mobile application, JavaScript is required. Means everywhere in the world, each and every application required JavaScript. So this is how JavaScript is captured the market, and now it's most popular language in the world. So how we can add JavaScript to web pages? There are two ways. Okay, you cannot execute JavaScript code separately. You need to embed this code in HTML file. So for that purpose, we will create one HTML file. Let's say demo.html. Okay, I will click on save. I will go here. I will say javascript.demo.html. Similarly, I can create one more file. Okay, I will say control new save. I have to save this file as a .js files, means all the JavaScript code. Okay, if you want to write the code in a separate file, you must have to define the extension of that file as a .js. This is the JavaScript file extension. Then and then only you are able to write the JavaScript code in the separate files. So as I said, there are two ways to embed the JavaScript code in HTML file. So first I will create HTML tag. Later on we can have a head tag, and this is just basic HTML body, and we can have a body tag also. So inside a head tag, yes, we can give the links. Okay, either you can give the link of external JavaScript file, or you can use, or you can write script, or you can use the script tag to write the JavaScript code directly in the HTML file. So we will see both. So I have not created anything as a CSS, so I will not add CSS, but I will add a script tag here. So I will say script. Okay. So I will not add external script at the moment. What we will do, we will add some content here. I will say h1. Okay. And I will write welcome to webjam. This is what my content on web page. Okay, this is h1. Yes. I will run this file. You will see the output that welcome to webcam. Okay, let me change this to small c. Now, I have to change the style. Okay, or now if I wanted to change the content of this HTML, this HTML element, yes, we can do that by using JavaScript. Okay. So what we can do, we can go here and we can write the script. I will say script here, and we are going to write directly JavaScript code in HTML, right? So you can write the code, JavaScript code in script tag, or you can give the reference of external JavaScript. Means you can embed the external JavaScript file by using script. But for that, you have to use the source attribute. And you have to say here demo.js, means you have to give the path. Actually, this is what you can see here. It's a name because both the JavaScript and HTML files are in the same folder. If we have this JS file in another folder, then you have to give the complete path of that folder. Next is you have to say type. So type is text or JavaScript. So by declaring this much, your external file will be loaded in your HTML and it will work as per the code. So first step, I have discussed how to add JavaScript code, but we have not started writing JavaScript code. Okay. So first understand what we can do with web pages by using JavaScript. So we can change the content of HTML elements. So what I have written here, welcome to webcam, I can change this by writing a JavaScript. Okay. But when to change that we can define, or that is what the use of HTML or JavaScript events. When page is loaded, or we can say when user clicks on button, something what action we can create, and on that action, JavaScript code will be executed. So welcome to webcam. If I wanted to change this content, how to change? Okay, I will talk on this. That. So next is we can change HTML attribute value. So you are aware about HTML attribute value. So let's say I have a ID attribute here, and I will say ID as a demo. Okay, so I can change this value from demo to any other value. This is what the attribute, and we can change the value. We can add attributes also to JavaScript, to the HTML elements. We can change the style, we can change font size, we can change color, we can change display style, any CSS property we can change from JavaScript. Or if you want to hide, or if you want to show the HTML elements, yes, we can do that also from JavaScript. Everything or each and every possible use cases we are going to see in this series. So be stick to the webcam and do not forget to subscribe the webcam. Okay, and now we are going to start writing JavaScript code. Okay, now we have one attribute here, right? And we have to write the JavaScript code. Okay, but how to start or how to write the JavaScript? So we have started with the script, but what to write is the first question when a new learner comes to this script. Okay, so you should know, or you should aware about DOM in JavaScript or DOM in HTML. What is mean by DOM? Whenever you write some HTML code and when you go to this HTML file, whenever you try to open this file, you will see this kind of output. Okay, but whenever we do this kind of action, whenever we load the HTML page, it will create one DOM object. Okay, document object model, and JavaScript refers that document object model to access the HTML elements. Okay, but I wanted to access this webchamp, welcome to webchamp in the HTML. How to access, right? Again, there are something, or there is something that we need to identify this element. So we can use the attribute also, we can use the tag name also, we can use the class name also. So we have added attribute here called id demo. So we can access any element with id attribute also in the JavaScript. But how to access that? To access that, you have to say document. Okay, document, when document is ready, means when it is in a running state. Okay, that's why its object is given. The HTML file is running on the browser. On that time, it creates one object, and we are going to refer that document object model DOM. So I will say documents dot. Now you have to use the methods of DOM. What is the method? So there is a one method to access the HTML element is called get element by ID. And there are different methods. If you want to access the element by class name, yes, you can use this one, get element by class name. If you want to access the element by name, you can use the name. If you want to use the name is the again attribute. Okay, that is also we can add if you want to access by name. So like ID, we can have a name also. We can have a name attribute also. So this is what the name. So if I say, or if I want to access the element by using tag name, yes, we can use the tag name. H1 is the tag name, so we can refer that also. So this is how we can use the different HTML elements or HTML attribute to access the elements. So here we are going to access HTML element by ID. So I will say ID as a demo. Okay. Then we have reached to this ID. But now what you wanted to do? Either you have to insert the content from JavaScript. Okay, from JavaScript to this HTML element. In that case, you have to say inner HTML. Inner HTML. But whenever you have to access the content of HTML element in the JavaScript, on that time you have to say inner text. Okay, so this is what the difference between inner HTML and inner text. Inner text is used to access the HTML elements content or HTML elements data. Whatever the data HTML element has between start tag to end tag is accessed by JavaScript by using attribute called inner text. And if you want to pass the data from JavaScript to HTML element, you have to use the inner HTML. Okay, so I will say dot inner HTML. So I is small, this I is small. I wrote in the caps lock, but do not forget to use small I. Okay, and by writing this, you are able to add. And I will say, welcome to my channel. Okay. And now I am going to refresh the page. So here you can see that we have changed the HTML elements content from JavaScript. So this is for the use. Okay. And if you want to pass the value of one HTML element to another HTML element, yes, we can do. What I will say P here. Okay. And yes, we can get the value from H1 and we can pass, but before that, I have to talk on variable. Once you get familiar with variable, I will talk on how inner text will work. Okay, so you got at least you got an idea that how a JavaScript content to be passed to the HTML element. Okay, this is what the one way to see the JavaScript code's output. Okay, so there are many other ways. Okay, if you don't want to insert the content, if you want to insert the content directly to the web page, yes, you can use, but use the method. That is the method of document object, DOM object, and document dot write method is there, and you have to write directly. This method will write the content on web page directly where we have written the script tag. Means if we return the script tag after the HTML element, it will write the value or whatever the content we have added after the H1 element. If you add script tag or document dot write method before the H1 element, accordingly text will be shown. Okay, so this method will directly write on the HTML browser as a paragraph. Okay, as directly it's not a paragraph, we cannot say it's paragraph, but yes, we can say it is adding a content as it's normal. If you want to add some style, or if you want to add any of the element, you can write here also like this. So you can say that this content, welcome to my channel, welcome to WebChamp. So this is also rendered as a H1 element. So you have not written H1 in the directly H1 tag in the body. Instead, we are passing H1 element, or we are writing H1 element from JavaScript, and it will be rendered same as a H1. So this is how we can pass the data to HTML to see the output by using inner HTML, by using document.write. There is one more method. Okay. So what is the method? I will say what it. See, if I wanted to show you the output document, right? We have seen. Yes. So there is something called console. And what I have to say, console.log. If you want to test the output, you don't want to change, or if you don't want to see the output on browser itself, you can use this one also. So what it will do, it will write the content in the console also. So where you can see the output, so you will not see output here directly. You have to go to the inspect and go to the console. Click on the console, and here you will see that whatever the content you have passed to the console. For testing purpose, yes, we can use this console also, console.log. And if you want a alert, alert means it's kind of pop-up message. So we can use windows.alert message. Like we have document object, similarly we can have windows also. So what you can do, either you can write windows dot alert, and whatever the message you pass in the alert method will be displayed on browser when page, if page has finished its loading. And here you will see that the welcome to webcam. Okay, and you have to say click OK. Once you say OK, it will render the next HTML element. Until you click on OK, it will not render the HTML page. And here you can see that page is still in loading state. Page is still in loading state. This is how we can see the output of JavaScript. So as we have seen that how to output the element, we can get the data from user in the JavaScript also. But for that, we have to use prompt method. Right, and how to use the prompt method, I will show you. Say prompt, it's again Windows method, and you have to say what you have to say. You have to say prompt only. Okay, so what we will do, we will take the data from user and we will pass that data to HTML element. Yes, we can pass. So how to pass, we will see. So whenever you have to get the data from user, okay, user will enter the data, but you need to access the data. You need to save that data somewhere in your program. And to save the data, you need to have something which is going to reference that, or which is going to add the reference to that data. And that is what nothing but a variable. Variable is a container for data. So to create a variable, we can use three keywords in a Java. Either we can use var keyword, either we can use let keyword, or we can use constant keyword. So when JavaScript is created, only this was the var was the keyword used to create a variable. But from 2015 onwards, these two new keywords are added in a JavaScript because of some deficiencies of this variable keyword. Okay, I will talk on this, what is the deficiency or what was the problem with var keyword. And nowadays we are using only let keyword to declare the variable, or other we can use constant keyword to declare the variable. It has a few, let or constant has few advantages over the var keyword. But yes, for the initial phase, you are good to use the var also. So I will declare the variable. To declare the variable, I will say variable x is equal to, and I have to take the input from the user. For that purpose, I will use the prompt method. And here I have to say enter message. message for users. Okay. So this is what the message I have to pass, and it will allow user to enter some data. But now I have a data in the variable X, right? And whenever you write a single line of JavaScript code, you have to end that line with semicolon. This is what the syntax of JavaScript. And you can use that variable on next line. But I have to insert that, to enter the data to H1. Okay, so what I will do, I will say demo. Okay, not demo. I have to say documents dot get element by ID. Get element by ID. Since we are using ID attribute, I will say demo. Okay, don't misspell it. If you use the small d here, do not use capital D here. It will not work. It should have same, means as it is, it should be there. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay, it is a case sensitive language, I can say. And inner HTML is equal to X. So this is how I have made the arrangement. I have created one variable which will store the data which is entered by user, and same will be given to the HTML element that has ID attribute. So I will go here, I will refresh the page, and here you are getting an input box to enter the data. I will say welcome to webcam. So to make some difference, dear student. Okay, welcome to webcam. This is what the message I'm going to pass to that variable. Okay, here you can see the state of page. It's still in a loading page because we have not entered the data. The moment I did enter the data, okay, it should pass the data. But why it is not passed data? Actually, it is passing the data, but there is a one problem. Whenever you have to enter data from JavaScript to HTML, your script tag should be written below. What it is doing, JavaScript code is getting executed before the HTML element gets ready. And that's why when you write the HTML script above the any of the HTML element, it will not work. You will not see the output. The script was working, but it will not see the output because this gets loaded faster than this one. Means before your document objects get ready, JavaScript finished its execution. That is the issue. That's why always make sure you will write the code or script below the HTML element. Now again I will refresh. I will say dear student. Okay, dear student, I will say welcome. And here you can see the message that dear student, welcome. This is how we can take the input from user by using prompt. So I have talked on user inputs, JavaScript outputs and JavaScript inputs. So for JavaScript output, what are the different ways we have seen? We have seen inner HTML console.log. Okay, I will make a note of it so that it will be easy. Okay, it will be easy. I will make a note for output. So what we were using for that? Okay, console. Okay, not console. I will say it is not that much larger. I don't want. I will later on place it on the right position. I will say first we have seen inner HTML attribute. Okay, this will also add your JavaScript content or data to the HTML element. If you want to write something on a web page, we can use document dot write method. And okay, this is what document dot write method. If you want to see the output as a alert, so we can use window dot alert function, so it will show. And if you want to see the output on console, or if you want to test your code, you can use console.log. It will show the output on console, not on document. So this is how JavaScript output. These are the 4 ways to see the JavaScript output. And yes. Okay, so if you want to get the input, we have a method called prompt, right? So I will write here prompt. So this method will help you to get the data from user in the JavaScript code. Okay, so this is how we need to go ahead with JavaScript programming. Let's see JavaScript comment. What is the comment? Okay. So you have written many numbers of, let's assume many numbers of line. Okay. Many numbers of line. And you don't want to use any of the line. Okay. Any of the line from your JavaScript code. So you can comment out that. So if you, I mean, you don't want to execute that line of code, you can put that line inside a comment. Okay, how to comment? So if you want to comment a single line, you have to use this one, means double forward slash in front of any of the single line. So this is what the single line comment. And instead of, it will not insert the value of X to the HTML element, it will insert the my value, whatever the value I am going to pass here, test comment. So this is what the value I'm going to pass. Okay, I will take the input from user, but it will not answer. Okay, I will say dear all. But here you can see the output as a test comment, because this line is not going to execute. So during the testing, if you want to restrict some lines of code to be executed, you can use the comment. Okay. But now, what if I wanted to comment out multiple lines? Yes, that is possible. What you have to do, you have to say, or you have to add this one forward slash followed by asterisk. And this will comment all the JavaScript code from onwards. Okay. And if you want to stop, the comments should be stopped here. Okay, let me add some lines here so that you can see that. So I have added these many lines, but I don't want last line to be commented. So I can stop this by using exactly same syntax, but in a reverse orders, asterisk followed by forward slash. So this is the start of multi-line comment. This is the end of multi-line comment in JavaScript. And I will say 4 here. You will see the output. I'm not going to enter anything. Still, you will see the output as a comment 4. So this is what about the comment, single line comment and multi-line comment. If you want to make the note of anything about the JavaScript code, yes, you can write the note Here also, this is, I can write anything. Okay, this will not be executed, but this will help to understand the code when someone use your code, or someone is going to modify the code. So this is what the purpose of actually comments. You can add notes, or you can make the code more readable by using comments. So this is demo JS. Okay, so this is how I can add the comment. You can also write the comment for what purpose you have written those lines, or if you want to make a note of anything in your code itself, comment would be helpful. Next is JavaScript events. As I said, JavaScript event. Okay, so JavaScript has almost means event is nothing but action performed by the user. And if you have to call any of the functions, okay, so you can use the event when an event occurs. Okay, so I wanted to add some code here. Okay, what I will do, I will say button here. I will take a button to demonstrate one event. I have taken a button here, and I will say on click. So there are many numbers of events. Okay, and here I wanted to change. Here I wanted to change the date. So today date is okay. But what I have to pass here? Either I can use the script tag and I can load the function. I can call the functions from this, or I can directly pass the data also. So how to pass the date? Okay, to show, just to show you, okay, I'm using this, but I will talk on date in detail. So date is a function. Okay, date is a function, and here I can write documents dot. Okay, I cannot use this, or I can use this. Yes, I can write the document, but what I will do instead, I will say document dot write. Okay, and write what to write. I'm just trying. Okay, not sure if this will work or not. So let me go here and enter some message, and message is entered, and I will click here. When I will click, it is not doing anything, means this is not going to work. Okay, so we are using a object, but which object we are using? Current object. So I will talk on this one, or this keywords also in later on when we talk about what we can say, when we talk about object oriented programming in JavaScript. So now what I will do, I will say this dot inner HTML is equal to, and I will use the date. So this is referring to the current object, and here current object is button. Means when I click on button, this should insert date. This should insert date in the HTML. Okay, I will not pass any message, but if I click here, you can see that today is a Wednesday, 25th of Jan, and current timing is 9:14:43. What time zone we are using here? You can see that it's EST, India Standard Time, means IST time we are using. So this is how it works. It refers. I was just trying to use the document, but that doesn't work. Okay, it may works in different situations, but for this it doesn't work. But this keyword would help us, because this is going to refer the current object. Current object is button. As I said, when we start or when we open the JavaScript, not the JavaScript, when we open the HTML file, it creates one object, document object, and it has multiple elements like h1 or script or button. So this is going to refer that particular means this is referred to the self, whoever is going to call. So that's why. So this simply adds the functionality that when user clicks on this button only, okay, just think like this, but the concept behind this keyword is bigger one. So this is what the event like this. You have in many numbers of events. Okay, on click we have seen, on drag, on blur, on the many events are there. Okay, I will say on mouse. Okay, mouse down, mouse enter. Okay, or mouse over I will use. And I will refresh the page. I will say okay, and I am not going to click this time. I will just move my mouse on the button and it will change. So this is what the meaning of event. When an action performed by user means I'm not going to click, I am simply moving my mouse on the button and it will change the content. This is what the use of JavaScript. When you have to change the content dynamically, when you have to change the content of your web page dynamically, when user performs certain action, JavaScript is required. So next point is events. We have discussed there are many events. As and when situation comes, I will talk on each of the events, but mostly we use the on click, on mouse over, on mouse down, key up. There are means when we press the key of any key of keyboard, that event will happen. Then as I said earlier, that if you want to declare the variable var keyword or let or constant keyword is used in a JavaScript. Then once you get a data, okay, once you get a data from user, right, whatever the data we will get, I don't know. So what I will do, I will say, or I will remove this. I don't need this one also. Okay. So this time what we are going to do is we are going to use the script demo.js. Okay, we are not going to use this one. We are going to use this. So far we have seen how to add the JavaScript code in by using script tag, but now we are going to use the external JavaScript file. And I will comment out this. Okay, and I will say test comment. So here you can see that we already have a content welcome to webcam, but when this script is called from this tag, okay, whenever the document will be ready, when DOM is created, the script will be called automatically. External scripts will be called. And yes, again, this is what not working. So no problem. If I add the script, move down, it will change. So that is the reason, okay, as I spoke on few minutes before, that why JavaScript code needs to be written below the or at the down or at the bottom of HTML body. And now this time we are writing this, or we are doing this. Okay, so if I use the prompt here also, yes, that will also works, but I will pass the variable, whatever the data I will enter, that is what stored in variable x, and I will pass that value to the html h1 element. So here you can see that dear all, and you will get the same message. So this is what about variable. Variable is just a keyword that is used, but actually we do not need to declare the type of data that is going to be stored in that variable. Okay, so JavaScript is a dynamically typed language, means during the runtime its data type will be resolved. This is what automatic, we do not need to worry about what kind of data is going to store in that variable. But in case of Java, this will not happen. In if you want to store the numbers in a Java, you have to say, what you have to say, you have to say int. If you want to store the integer value, you have to say int x is equal to 10. But in JavaScript you do not need to. Or if you want to store the some text in JavaScript, you have to say string y is equal to, I will say, Brahma. Okay, but in case of JavaScript, you do not need to worry about these data types. This is what resolved during the runtime. Whenever this program gets executed by the JavaScript engine, it will define the data types. Okay, so you have to simply use the var keyword in JavaScript. Okay, so if you are coming from Java background, you might have facing some issues while typecasting. Means whenever you have to store the data, you have a variable that is going to store the integer or number values in x, and if you want to store the string value in x, you have to cast it. Okay, but here in this JavaScript, you do not need to worry about that. You directly can change the value of x to string value also. It will be resolved during the runtime. Typecasting and everything will be taken care by the JavaScript itself. That's why we call it as a dynamic dynamically typed programming language. Then what is the use of operators, right? When you have a data, you need to perform some kind of operations. You need to validate the data, and based on some conditions, or if you want to compare the data with another variable, you need operators. Okay, so operators are required to perform certain operation on the data. If you have a numerical values, you can perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or sub means what, many other. Okay, it depends upon how you build the logic. If you want to assign the value, there are different assignment operators. If you want to compare two values, there are different comparison operators also. And logical operators are used to build some logical operators are, and or not, three operators are there. If you want to add some multiple conditions to any of the statement, any of the conditional statement, we can use the logical operator also. Then conditional operators are there. If I have to say about this conditional operators are, Conditional operators. Okay, what exactly it is? Okay, conditional operators and comparison operators. Yes, almost same. Okay. I don't know why I have a did. Okay, and type operator. If you want to check the type of any of the date, any of the variable type of operator is used. Okay, let's see one by one operators here. So if I have to say about arithmetic operators, so what I will do, I will go here and I will say arithmetic operators are plus, minus, multiplication, modulus, then exponential operator, increment and decrement operators. Okay, so how these operators are going to work in a JavaScript, I will discuss. Okay, what are the different operators I have said here? So first I said plus operator, second I said minus operator, third one is this, fourth one is division or not division, this is what the division. Next is percentage sign, this is what called modulus operator. Okay, modulus, and this operator is going to return the reminder after the division. Okay, division. Since you are already familiar with this plus, minus, multiplication, division, I'm not going to talk on that. Then exponential operator, if you want to get the power of any, it's like mathematical function. If you have to say 2 raised to 2, it will return 4, means it will multiply 2 by 2 times. Okay, if you change anything, it will return the value accordingly. This is what the exponential operator. Okay, exponential operator. Then next is plus operator, means this is what we call it as a increment operator. Increment operator. Okay, what it will do, it will add one, add, it means if you have to say 1 plus plus. Okay, so you have a any x variable as a x is equal to 11, and if you say x plus plus, it will return value as a 12. It will add one value to any of the number variable. Okay, and similarly we have a decrement operator. So decrement operator, and y is equal to, if I say I have a value y is equal to 11, and if I say y minus minus, it will return 10. So this is how it works. I will demonstrate everything. Okay, so I have to pass the value. So now we have a variable x which is taking first value, enter. I will say first value, enter first. Okay, not necessary to enter. Okay, it was just to show you how we can take the input. Okay, so I will say x is equal to 10, variable y is equal to 20, and variable z is equal to, I will just simply perform the addition operation, and I will pass the value of z to what? Okay, z to document, and I will refresh. Here you will get the 30 as a sum. If I try to subtract, okay, this will give me the result of subtraction. If I try to multiply 10 by 20, it will return 200. Similarly, if I try to divide, okay, 10 divided by 20, it will return 0.5. This is how arithmetic operator works. If I wanted to perform some exponential operation, I will say x exponent 2. So this will return me the square of 10, or this will return me the square of any number. Okay, since we have used the exponential operator in between x and 2, if I change, it will return the cube of 10. Okay, this is how it works. Next operator is increment or decrement operator. Okay, so in the z, I am going to increment the value of x, and you can see here, okay, it is returning me, okay, not necessary to pass there, but yes, okay, it is incrementing value, but there are two types of increment and decrement: pre-increment and post increment. So this is what the little bit confusing topic, but it is very easy if you understand the concept. So here you can see that I have incremented value of x here in the z, right? And if I refresh, it is returning me. What it will do, it will assign the value of x directly, whatever the existing value, its original value is 10. It will assign the value of 10 to z, and then it will increment. So if I directly use the x here, means after this line, value of x will be 11. So here you will get the element. So this is what the post increment, because I used the plus plus operator after the x. Okay, now I am going to do pre-increment. So what it will do, it will first increment the value and then assign the value to z. So if I use the x here, it will 11, but earlier we have seen the value of z was 10, but in this case value of z is 11. Okay, this is what the pre means, when you have to increment, before assigning the value or after assigning the value. That is what the pre or post increment. Similarly, it works for decrement also. If I have to say 2 minus signs, and it will reduce the value before, but if I go back and if I use the post decrement, what it will do, it will assign the value of x first and then it will decrement. So that's why you will get the value of z as a 10. But if you use x here, you will get the 9, because on this line we have reduced the value. On this line we have reduced the value of x by 10. Sorry, not by 10, 1. And that's why it shows us value of x as a 9 on this line. So this is how pre and post decrement works. This is all about the arithmetic operators. So next we have other operators called what are the different other operators? Assignment operators. Okay, there are different assignment operators used in a JavaScript. Okay, so what are the operators? So these are the operators. So if I go here, if I say, and if I paste here, okay, these are the assignment operators in a JavaScript. Okay, so what it is doing, you have to say, or whenever you have to assign the value, okay, we use is equal to operator as an assignment operator, right? So if you want to assign the value to the x, we will say x is equal to, so this is our actually assignment operator. But if you want to perform some operation while assigning the value, there are for that purpose we have different assignment operators. So if you say plus is equal to x, okay, plus is equal to, it should work, but we are going to, okay, let me keep this as it is and we will do this on next line. And I'm going to change the value of x plus is equal to y. So what this will do, it will go on next line, okay, and this operation or this operator will resolve x is equal to x plus y. So what it will do, it will perform the addition operation between x value and y value, that is 30, and it will change the value of x to 30. And now you will get the value of x as a 30 because we are passing a value of x to the HTML. So this is how it works. Okay, let me reduce this window so that we can see the output here itself. Now if I have to subtract the x from y, yes, we can do that, and here you will get the output as a subtraction. So all the arithmetic operators are used like this. Okay, if you want to use the exponential, we can use, and it will return the value accordingly. So this is what the assignment operator. Next we have comparison operators. Okay, so whenever you have to compare the value of two variables, right? Whenever you have to compare the value of two variables, we need a comparison operator. So what are the different comparison operators we have? So we have these many comparison operators. Okay, what it will do, so I will demonstrate everything, no worries. So here we have double equal to operator because single equals to we use as a assignment operator, so we cannot use that, that is for the comparison. So if you want to compare the values only, so what it will do, okay, I will say, or you will get the boolean result, boolean value as a result, means you will get a result as a true or false, true or false. Okay, so let's say you have to use equal to operator here. So I will say x is equal to y. Okay, I will make this as a separate expression, separate by parenthesis. And now what I said by value, when I use double equals to or equal to twice, two times by values. Okay, so it will compare the value. There are two types of data, means we can compare by reference and we can compare by value. So reference is nothing but at what specific reference used when this variable is created, whether it is referring to the same reference or whether it is referring to the different reference, we will see the difference, okay, how it works. So let's consider only double equals to compare the value. And as we know that 10 is not equal to 20, what it should return, it should return the false, and you will see the output as a false here, right? But if I create one more variable, okay, variable z is equal to 10. Okay, and if I say equal to x is equals to z, so we know value of x and value of z is same, so it will return me as a true. Okay, so now we know that what is the use of equal equals. But when I use triple equals to, it compares value and type of data. Okay, it compares value and type of data. Means double equals to compares. Okay, I will write down double equals to compare by value. Triple equals to compare by value and type. Okay, and here we know that both are of type same, both are of number types value. So I will say, or we are getting value as a 10. But what if I convert this 10 to string type? Okay, I will talk on data types. Just consider that anything written inside a double quotation or single quotation in a JavaScript, it will be treated as a text, not as a number, even though that is a numeric value. So now this will compare the value remains same. Okay, if you see here, so both have same value, so it will return me as a true. But if I use triple equal to sign between x and z, it will return me as a false, because it is saying that, hey, you are comparing, the value is same but type is not same. Type of these two variables data is not same. One is type of number, another is type of string. If you want to compare the value on another basis, exactly opposite, so far we have seen equals to operator, equals to operator. But if you want to check whether the value are not equal or not, we have operator called not equal. So next operator is, and this operator will return, it will check for the value. Okay, it will check for the only value by value, and returns true if values are not equal. Okay, just try to understand this line. It is a very important. If you do not understand this, you won't be able to perform operations on data. So to perform operations on data, to make some transformation in a JavaScript code, operator plays a very important role. So when operator not equal to operator used, it will return true when result is opposite. Means I can say that here x and y are not same, right? Here x and y are not same. We know that, and this is what going to, if it is not same, what it should return, this expression should return me as a true, and here you will see the output as a true. Means this is saying, hey, you are right, x and value, x value and y values are not same. If you want to check not only by the value, but if you want to check by with the type of value also, you can use this operator. So this is not double equal to by value and type, as we did for triple equals to. Value and type both should not be okay. Both should be, if you want to wants the result to be true, both the value should not be same. So now here you can see that value of x and y is same or not. Yes, it is not same, but it is of same type. This is also number, this is also. If I compare x and y, what it should return me, it will check for the value. Hey, its value is not equal, that is true, but its type is equal, and if type is equal, it is not going to return true. Instead it will return false. Okay, what is types are not equal? Why types are not equal? not equal value, okay, or it will not perform or operation, it will perform, sorry, it will not perform and operation, it will perform or operation. So if or is used, it should return true. Means either it will check for the value, either it will check for the type. If anything is matched, if it match by value or if it match by type, it will return true. Okay, I misplaced here by writing add. So you you have to correct this as a or operator, or will compare, or will return true when any of the is true. So if I say here, or if I say z is not equal to y, so here you can see that z is not equal to y by value and by type also. So in this case, yes, it is matching, it is returning true, because this is true, it is not same. But if I say okay, and if I compare x and y, it will return me as a false, because it is saying that hey, both are not same as a value and not same. Okay, it performs or operation, to be sure. Okay, not same by value, it will compare both value and type. If both are not matching, then it will return false, otherwise values or type are not equal. Okay, if anything will not match, it will return true. If both the things will match, it will return false. Okay, that's why here you can see that x and y both has same value and both are of same type, that's why it is returning false. Similarly, we have greater than, less than operators. Okay, we can use here, this is greater than, it will compare the value. Okay, in if I say x is greater than y, so what you can say by looking at the values, x is less than y, because x value is 10, y value is 20, y is greater than, so it will return me as a false. Okay, if I say, or if I revert this, if I say less than operator, so it will say yes, it is true that x is less than y. You can perform less than or equal to, greater than or equal to value operator similarly. Okay, so this is what about comparison operator. We have 6 comparison operators. First one is to check equal equals to operator. Second one is not equal to operator. Then greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And JavaScript has one more extra operator, that is triple equal to. And ternary operator used for if else shorthand. I will, when we will see conditional statements, I will talk on this ternary operator. These operators are called conditional operators. Then we have something called type of operators. So type of operators, it's like a method. Okay, in comparison operator and conditional operator, both are same. Okay, so don't be stick on this point. Comparison and conditional both are same. So we have something called logical operator. we have three types of logical operators. What are those logical operators? So we have and operator, or operator, and not operators. So this is what logical, and we can say that logical, and then for this operator we can say logical or, and for this operator we can say logical not operator. So what it will do, it will allow you to add multiple conditions in one expression. Okay, what I will do, I will say now you have a result in front of you that x is less than y. Right? This condition is true. And if I wanted to check for another condition, I will say and I will add one more parenthesis, and I will add one condition that y is greater than z. So it may throw an error that it will not compare the value, but it might compare the value, and it says y is greater than z. It is comparing the value, okay, not comparing the type. That is fine. So here we have added two conditions. First condition is true. You can see here as first condition is true. And what is the result of second condition? Y is greater than z. Yes, it compares the values. So we can say that y is again greater than z. When you have any numbers of conditions separated by the and operator, and all conditions are going to return the true result, then only it will return the true. If any of the condition fails, okay, I will say this. Now here this condition fails, and you are going to see the output as a false. No matter your next condition will be true or false. When you use the and operator, and if you found one of the condition is failing to meet the expected output, it will return false. But this will not happen in case of or. Whenever you use the or operators, what it will do, it will check if first condition is true, it will return true. If first condition is false and second condition is true, it will return true. Means any of the condition is true, or operator will return true. So here we can see that first condition is false. Right? X is not greater than y, but y is greater than z. And as per our expectation, this should return false, but this will not return false. This works exactly opposite to the and operator. And operator checks for all the condition. If all the conditions are true, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. But in case of or operator, when you have at least one condition as true, you will get true. If all the conditions are false, okay, in that case only or operator will return false. So now x is less than y. Yes, it is. Okay, so I have to make this false. First one was false. I have to make this one also false. So now what I am saying that x is greater than y. Here you can look and say x is not greater than y. So this condition is false. So if I say about this, so y is less than z. But here you can see that y is not less than z. Not less than z. And now both the conditions are false. In that case, or operator will return false. Otherwise, it will return true. And here you can see the false. If you say not, means whenever you have to invert the result, okay, what we can say that invert. So in that case, we can use the logical not operator. Means what? So here you can see the value x is not greater than y. So ideally it should return false, and yes, it is returning me as a false. But if I wanted to invert the result, if I wanted to change the result, I will use the not operator, and this not operator will invert my result. It will convert true into false. It will convert false into true. It will convert true to false and vice versa. Okay. Okay, this is not false, this is false. Small f is there. And here you can see that output of this is false, but because of this not operator, it returns me as a true. This is what the logical operators. These are the three logical operators we need whenever you have to, or we have to work with multiple conditions. We have to add multiple conditions in conditional statement. Conditional statement is nothing but if else and switch statements. We will see how those statements works in some time. So let's say x and y. So now we are done. Now I wanted to check the type of operator. Okay, to check the type of any variable, you have to say type of operator, and type of operator will help you to identify so if I say type of x, it will return me as a number. Okay, so you are now aware of one data type in JavaScript, that is number. Anything means we don't have a separate data types like integer and float like Java. Here everything will be treated as a number only. Okay, even though it is a floating point number, if I say 10.5, still it will return me as a number. Okay, so this is what the JavaScript number. JavaScript do not have separate data types for floating point and integer numbers. Number is just a number, no matter what kind of number is this. One more method is there. Okay, if you want to check the instance of means whether that is object of a string or object of number, you can use the instance. Okay, but what is the instance? X is the instance of what? Okay, and I have to pass number here, and since x is a type of number, it will return, okay, instance of what? Okay, this should not be used. Instance of number, this is what the operators, and this is returning me instance of number. I will say this will, what this will say. Okay, x it is passing the value, not passing the value, x of instance. It is not returning anything, so this is returning me. JavaScript is not passing the value to id demo. Okay, and what it is trying to say, that it is not an instance of variable. Okay, so how to create an instance, that we will see. But whenever you create, okay, these are the primitive data types. I did not talk on the data types, but I will talk on the data types now. So in a JavaScript, there are two types of data types. First one is primitive data types. Okay, means these are the direct value type data. Means these variables has direct value. We don't have any special methods to perform some kind of operation, some kind of cleaning of data. Those data types are called, or those data types are called primitive data types. Okay, but if you want to have a non-primitive data types, you have to, non-primitive data types means, okay, non primitive, non-primitive data types means these are the types of variable on which we can use some built-in methods to perform some operations. But this, what are those? So you may have an array. These are the data structures. Actually, we can create an object of array, and then we can perform operations. So those are the primitive, non-primitive. Non-primitive string is again non-primitive string has lot many methods. Okay, to perform operation on string. Array, string, then set, then map. These are the objects. But if you want to see anything as a instance of any type, so what I can do, I can create one instance for you to demonstrate. So I will say var a is equal to when you create an object using new keyword, I will say new string, and here I can pass the value as a 10, and now I can say that a is an instance of string, and this will return me true. Means this will check whether the specified variable is a type of specific class. So it is checking a is the variable of type string or not. If I say number here, you will see it will return me as a false. Earlier it was not instance. That's why it was not taking the value from this statement. But now it is working. Okay. So this is what the instance. This is what the instance is nothing but object. And we have to talk on object a lot, but not now. We will talk on object when we will go for object oriented programming with JavaScript. So far we have seen what we have seen. We have seen operators. Then we have seen variable, event, command, input, output, how to add JavaScript in HTML. Okay, there are two ways. Then what are the applications of JavaScript? Then introduction and why we need a JavaScript. Now we have to, or I have to talk on data types. Okay, most of the data types we have seen string types. So we can create a string by using a new keyword also, or if you write like this, means this is what the string literals. Okay, we are using double quotation, or we can use the single quote also to create a string. Okay, this is also treated as a string in a JavaScript. So I will not talk on methods of string here. I will say just about the data types. Okay, so let me remove this. So now you got picture about string type data. What is the string type? You can use single quotation or double quotation to create a string. Okay, or you can use new string, and here inside of that you can pass the data and it will create a string type variable. Okay, this is what the data type of variable. Now next type is number. So number can be of any type. So this is a number type, this is also number type. JavaScript don't have any specific data types like float, that has Java has, but float or int, this kind of, or there are many others are there in a Java, that short, byte, okay, or long, but JavaScript don't have anything such as. So it refers everything as a number only. So next data type is our number. Okay, and I will say number. And here you can use 10, 10 point, Okay, not 10, then we can say 10.5, or we can say 101.5. Okay, so this is what the type of number. Next data type is, you can see that big int. When we have a numbers greater than 15 digits, and if you want to show that on the JavaScript or as output somewhere, or if you want to use the number greater than 15 digits, on that time we use big int. And how to create a big int? So to create a big int, you just have to say 10b. Okay, so if I say b here, okay, this is not working. Okay, this should works. Something is missing. Big int. Okay, not b we have to pass, we have to say here as a n. And if you check the type of data types, means document dot get element by id, and id here I will pass demo as id dot inner html is equal to, I will say type of, not type error, but I will say type of y. So here you will see data type as a big int. So this is how a big integer is defined when you have number of digits in a number more than 15. In that case, this is how big int works. Or if you want to create a big integer, you can directly use the method called big int, and you can pass the number here as a 20 or 10. Still it will return data type as a big int. Next data type is, or I will say big int, and number you have to pass here, it will be treated as a big integer. Okay, next data type is what we have to, boolean. Boolean is something what we have seen earlier also. So boolean is either true or false. Okay, these two values are treated as a boolean type, 10 or 20. Next data type is undefined. Okay, JavaScript has undefined data types, means you can declare the variable. What I will do, I will just declare the variable as a var a, but I will not assign the value to it. Since value is not assigned, JavaScript return type of variable as undefined. Okay, means this variable is not defined. It cannot define the type because there is no data. And since I said data type is resolved during the runtime, right? So this is what about undefined. Then null. If you don't want to store any value, you can use null as a value, and it is a one type of data. Okay, and if I say z here, you will see data type as an object. It will treat this type of null as an object, but the value is null. It is not zero, not, it means value just initialized, but its value is nothing. It's like nothing. Value is not assigned, but it creates variable as an object because of this null. Or this object is treated this null is treated as an object. Then you have something called array. Arrays are used. Okay, arrays are used to store the multiple values in a single variable. Any type of value can be stored. Any type of, like array list in Java, or list, normal list in Python. Okay, if you are coming from those backgrounds, It can store any type of, okay, it can store any type of value or any number of values it can store. I will say 300, then I will say Brahma, I will say okay WC. So this is what the array. And again, type of array will be returned as a object. So if I pass here, yeah, and if I go here and if I refresh, it will be written as a object. Next data type is set. Set is very similar to array, but array allow you to store the value as a duplicate values, but set will not allow you to store the duplicate value. Means if you pass the duplicate value, let's say array, and if I create set d, okay, so you cannot create set d, you have to create a set by using curly brackets, and you have to use or oh. So how to create a set? So to create a set, what you need to do, you need to use the new set constructor. This is what the constructor, everything will be discussed, okay, and you have to pass the array to this constructor. I will say array. This will create a set and this will remove duplicates from, means we have duplicate value 100 as a twice, okay, in the array, but set will not store, it will remove duplicate and it will keep the only one value as, okay. And if you want to see the set d dot size, I will just show you the size, how many arrays we have passed. So we have passed 1 2 3 4 values to array, sorry, 4 and 5 values to array, but set will return 4 value because it has removed duplicate one. So here you can see that 4, but if I do the same for array, means how many elements are there in an array, I'm just checking, so it will return array dot, not size is not working, then length will work, okay, 5. So it says array has 5 elements, but set has 4 elements. This is how it works. This is how it works. Next data type is map. Okay. Map is again used to store the multiple values in a single variable. Set is also used for the same purpose, but unique values. Array can store any type of data, or it store duplicate, it store null values, everything will be stored in the array. Map is little bit different when you have a data in key and value pair. Okay, when you have a value key and value pair, so these are value, okay, not value pair. So when you have a data in this format, map is used. But how to create a map? So map is also created by using new keywords. So I will say where new map is equal to, so you have to say new map, and here you have to pass the array, okay, but not a single array. You have to pass the nested array with 2 values in each. So what I will do, I will say array inside. Nested array means array inside array, and I have created nested array with 2 array items. And here you can see the syntax that you have to pass anything as a key, anything as a value. Means what I can say, I can pass here as a name, okay, and I can pass value as a Brahma. Okay, here I can pass key as a 100. Here I can pass anything as a, or I will pass age and value. So this is how map is created. Okay, these three are data structures in JavaScript. It has different methods to work around it. Okay, so these three are the spatial data types. Now I have to say new map. Okay, new map dot size. What it has size? Okay, it has a size, and here you can see that two items it has, means it will consider one pair as a one item of map. It will consider another item as a one pair of map. And now you can see that I have passed a duplicate value and it will not consider it. But if I change, means what it is doing, it will not add duplicate key. If you have a key, same key, instead I change the key, it will consider, or it will return the number of items based on key. If I have same key, it will not consider that as a duplicate, it will append the value of previous. Okay, let's say I have added age 20 here, and if I say add I have add age as a 30. So what it will do, it will, instead of creating a new element, it will append the value of previous age to 30. From 20 it will change to 30. So if I create the new variable, it will say yes, we have three items in a map. This is how map works. Okay, and next is object. Object is something what we have seen when we use new keyword, object is created, object is getting created. Okay, object has some properties, object has some methods. So I will talk in detail about this object in object oriented programming. So once you have a data, or you are familiar with the data, we can go ahead with conditional statements. Conditional statements, because this is what the basic programming concepts. Conditional statement, you should know, loops, you should know how to create a functions, and then this is what some kind of advanced level programming. Here object and class concept is used, and then we will discuss about arrow functions and many other use cases. Okay, so let's continue with conditional statement. What are the different conditional statements we do have? Yes, we have many other, many, not many, okay, we can say four types of conditional statements. Or okay, what are the conditional statements? I will say if is a one of the conditional statement. Next is if with else is one of the conditional statement. Then else if is again a type of, nothing, means these three are looks very similar, but you can use only if you have a single condition. If you you can use if else. Okay, if you have a single condition, means you don't need to check for multiple conditions, but if you want to check for the multiple condition, you can use if else if statements also. Means many else if we can use, or how to use we will see. And at last we have switch statement. These four are the conditional statements in a JavaScript. Okay, but how to write? Okay, so if statement will allow you to mention the condition. Let's say I have a variable called variable x is equal to 10. Okay, or we should do the practice by for using let keyword. This is what the advanced keyword to declare the variable. Okay, so I will say let x is equal to 10. Okay, or yes, that is fine. And I will say let y is equal to 15. I will say let z is equal to 20. Okay, so I have a data like this. Okay, just to see the conditional statement, how to write the conditional statement. As and when the situation comes, you will automatically build the logics. Depends upon what data you have and what you have to filter. So this is what the if else is nothing but simply a filter. Okay. So if I have to apply some filters, so this is what the block. If block. This is what we call as a if block. Block is nothing but whatever the code written inside the curly brackets is called if. If is a statement followed by condition. Condition is nothing but conditional operator we have to use. And if I say x is greater than y, okay, x is greater than y, I have to say documents dot write. Okay, I will write on the directly write, no problem. And what I have to write, I have to pass here. So x is greater than y. Okay, document dot. I am going to write this statement on document. Document is nothing but our web page, and I am trying to refresh, but we are not getting output. Yes, this script should run. This script is getting executed, but we are not getting output. Why? Right. This is the block. Okay, this is the if block, and this is the okay. This is what the x is greater than y is the condition or conditional statement. When this condition returns true, when this condition returns true, then and then only the if block will be executed. Now here in this case, you can see that whether x is greater than y or not. So x is greater than y is false condition. X is actually not greater than y, right? That's why, and if this condition fails, this block of code will not be executed. This block of code will not be executed. What it will not execute, it will move ahead with next lines. This is what the conditional statement. This entire block from if to end of block, we call it as a conditional statement. If is a conditional statement, we have to mention the condition, and if the condition is true, condition is going to return true. In that case, only that block of code will be executed. Otherwise, that block of code will not be executed. I will invert the condition. I will say x is less than y. Now my condition is true or false. Yes, it is true. X is less than y. And here you can see that y is okay. Y is greater than x. Right. Y is greater than x. This is what the output we can see. But if my condition is false, nothing will be written on the document. This is what used. But so now what condition I have applied, I am trying to say that x is greater than y, right? X is greater than y. So this is what we have written. But in some cases, you need to execute any of the code, means few lines, even though your condition is false. So I know if this condition is fail, if my x is not greater than y, then y must be greater than x. So I have to add the statement which is going to execute when this condition is false. So that statement is called else statement. And else, for else, we do not need to mention any condition. It works with this. If this block is not getting executed, then else block will be executed. And I will say document.write. Okay, I will copy this and I will paste this and I will say If x is not greater than y, then my y is must be greater than x, right? And this is what going to happen. Now you can see that this condition, what is the condition? X is greater than y. X is not greater than y. So this is what going to return me as a false. If this block is not getting executed, else statement will be executed. And we can get the default output. We can say that this is what the default. If this is not, then this will. If this is not, then this will. Right. This is about the if else statement. Now we can add many conditions, like means if you want to add many if blocks. So how to add? For that, we have to use else if. So we have to say else space if. Again, you can mention the condition and you can have one more block here. So I will say, what condition I will say? I will say z is greater than y. Okay, and I will just say here, okay, I will say z is greater than y. So what it will do, it will check for first condition, whether this condition is true or not. If this condition true, this if block will be executed. If not, it will check for the next condition. If this condition true, if z is greater than y, yes, z is greater than y, it will write this. It means this block will be executed. And if none of the condition is true, else block will be executed. And here you can see that z is greater than y, means this is what getting executed. If I say z is less than y, now this is also going to be false. In that case, my else block will be executed. So none of the condition is getting, means like this, by using else if, we can add any number of blocks to the conditional statement. Any number of conditions, conditional statement we can add to our code by using else if. Okay. At last, if you want to add else block, you can add, otherwise it is not required to add. This is how it works. Now next is switch statement. How switch statement works in JavaScript. It performs very similar. Okay, if any of the batch, not a batch, okay, any of the case, switch has different cases. Okay, what are the case, what is this case or everything? So whatever the condition we are mentioning here is mentioned there also. Okay, but it compares the output instead of comparing true or false, or instead of this condition, we have to define the multiple cases in one go. So what I will do, I will say switch, and I will use another example. I will say let day is equal to 4 or second day. Okay, and in switch I have to mention one condition here. And what is the condition is nothing but it's just an expression. I have to pass the day here. Whatever the value day has, based on that value, this statement should match with specific case. I will say case 1 colon. Okay, and here I will say document dot write, documents dot write, and it will say today is Monday. Okay, not day. Okay, I will say 0 case 0. And once you are done with any case, you have to add the break statement. I will say on this why to add break. Okay, similarly we have to add many cases, and whichever case will be matched, that case or that block of that case will be executed. Okay. So I will say case 1, case 2, and case 3. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, the next is Wednesday, and at last, I will say Thursday. We can add many cases for entire week also. And at last, we can have default also. So default, if none of the case gets executed or none of the case gets matched, default is Sunday, or default we can say we have a holiday. Okay, so this is how it works, and you do not need to write break statement for last case. Okay, that is what the default case. But in case if you do not mention this, you have a case 3 as a last, you can remove this also. That will also work. It will not be a problem. But why to use break is I will say on this in some time. But first we will see how switch case work. So what it will do, it will enter the value of day here 2, and it will say that case, whatever the value of case, it will try to match that value with case value. And day has 2 value and case has a 0 value, so it will not match. So then it will check for the next value. Okay, it has a 1 value, case has a 1 value, day has a 2 value, it will not match. The next has a 2 value, so this will match. So this, when where the case will match with the expression value of switch statement, that block will be executed. And this is how it works. Okay, this is how it works. Means it will match the expressions value, it will match the expressions value with specific case. If the none of the case will match, then it will, by default, it will execute the default statement. And if any of the case match, it will execute that particular block of case. But then why we are using the break? Okay, so based on match, it will start executing the case block. But if we do not break the, or if we do not use the break statement after the each case, what it will do, execution will continue until this switch block gets finished, or until the end of switch block. To avoid this, means I have to execute this line only. After that, it should not execute. To stop the further execution, we use the break keyword, and it will move out of switch block and it will start executing the next lines of code. That is the use of break statement. So I will show you. Okay, so now we are using value, or we know that we have a day value as a 2, and it will match with the case value with this. So it should give me the output as a Wednesday. And here you can see that today is Wednesday. But what will happen if I do not use this? I will comment out this. Okay, I will comment out this. So you will see the effect that all the statements will get executed. Today is Wednesday, today is Thursday, today is holiday. I don't want that. To break the further execution, I have used break statement in switch case. Okay, this is how switch case works. So we have seen about this if, else if, or if else, and switch conditional statements in JavaScript. Next is loops. Okay, what are the different types of loops, or how loop help us to execute the program, or what is the use of loops? Let's say, okay, let's say you have to execute the same block of code for the multiple times. Means what? Let's say I have to write something on a document, so I will use the document dot write. I will use document write, and I will say, okay, today is Wednesday, right? So this is what the true, but I have to write this 100 times. I have to write this 100 times. What I need to do, I need to write this line of code. Or now, since this is the same, this has the same message, so we are able to write, or we will copy paste this. But what if I have to write this dynamically, or I have to execute the same line of code multiple times for any purpose? Okay, purpose can be anything. So just to demonstrate you, we need a loop. Loop will help us to execute the same block of code for number of times. Okay, this will execute, and I will say document today is Wednesday, and okay, today is Wednesday, and let's see how we can execute this multiple times. Okay, so JavaScript has many types of loops. So actually, basically, there are two types of loops, but JavaScript adds for in, for of loop, and while loop. So, or for each loop, it works on array or map or set. So basically, we have two types of loops. First one is a while loop, and next one is a for loop. These are the two basic loops. Okay, and they have made some advancement in for, which is called for in loop, or not, or one more loop is there. Okay, for in loop, just an advancement for off loop is there, but it works very similar. What is the difference between for in and for off? I will talk on this also. So just consider that we have two types of loops. First one is a while loop. But how to start with loop? Loop needs initial condition, means when your loop should start. Okay, initialization. Then next is condition. Next is condition. You have to say, first is where to start, or from where loop should start. Okay, and next is condition. Condition means until what loop should execute, means at what condition it should get terminated, or something like this. We can say it depends upon your understanding. Condition you have to mention, based on that condition, until the condition is true, your loop will execute. Okay, so what I will do, I will start writing loop. So I will say let x is equal to 1. I will start with while loop. So I will say x is equal to 1. X is my variable, and I have initialized its value with 1. And I have to use the while loop, so I will say while. But here in this while, you have to mention the condition. And until that condition is true, your loop will get executed. Okay. So I will say while x is, okay, x is less than 10. Right. And I will say document dot write. Today, or instead of that, I will just pass the value of x. Okay. So it will print 1 to 9 numbers for me. But what will happen if I do not change the value? Means what I need to do, I have mentioned the condition here, but how my x value will reach to that condition? Right. So as of now, we don't have added any operators to increase the value of x. Why we need to increase the value? Because we started from 1 and we are going until the 10. So we can see that we have to go from 1 to 10. Means if I have to go from 1 to 10, yes, obviously I need to add something to this one, right? So every time if I wanted to add 1, I will use plus plus operator. But where to use that operator? In case of while loop, you have to use the increment operator x plus plus as a last line of your while loop. Don't write this after the while loop. Okay. Okay, if you write x plus plus here, this will be a different result. It will not affect or it will not change. So what or how the loop is going to execute, I will say here. Let's say your loop is going to start at x is equal to 1. So it will start x is equal to 1. It will come to the condition, it will check whether x is less than 10 or not. Yes, it is less than 10. It will execute this block. Okay, and it will print value of x as a 1 on document. On next line, after the printing the value on document, what it will do, it will increase the value of x. Means we have used x plus plus 1 by 1 by because of this operator. Because of this operator, it will increase the value. And now on next line, but it is not going to, loop is designed in such a way that it is not going to execute or it is not going to out of this block. What it will do, again, it will check for the next value. What is the next value of x? So x value is increased by 2, by 1, means 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Again, loop will go and loop will check for 2. And again, it will check for the condition x is less than 10. Yes, x is less than 10. Condition is true. It will execute the block. It will add 2. Next line, it will convert 3. Similarly, it will do for 4. Until it reaches to the 9, it will print. After the 9, x value will be increased to 10. X plus plus will be 10. Okay, after some iteration. After some iteration, this is what we call, means if your loop gets executed one time, we can say that it's first iteration. So like this, second iteration, or maybe any number of iterations. Iteration is nothing but block code execution of loop. And at the value of x is equal to 10, again, it will go to the while. It will check the condition. Okay, it will say x is equal to 10. And we have a condition called x is less than 10. So here this condition gets failed. So this block will not be executed and control will go to the next line of code, which is written after the while loop. Since we don't have anything written here, it will not execute anything, but it will go for the further execution. This is how loop execution works. So to demonstrate you, if I write document dot right here is finished loop execution, just to show you, okay, whether how control is going to this line until it gets complete, or until the condition is true, it will execute only this block, while block only. This is what the loop. And I will go and I will say here. So here you can see that 1 2 3 4 5 6 8 9. Why it is not coming on the new line? Because we have not added break. And if I wanted to add the break, I can pass the break tag like this. Okay, this is what the concatenation operator, you whenever you have to join text and any variable, you can use plus operator. Let's execute and you will see the output like this. So first iteration will print 1 2 3 4 5 or like this, and on when x is equal to 10, the condition will be fail and it will start executing next lines of code. This is how it works. This is how loops works, right? So condition, initialization, and next is either increment or decrement. Decrement is nothing but when we have to go from what we can say, from 10 to 1. So I will say 10, and if I have to say, but condition will be reverse, condition will be 0, okay, and I have to subtract, and so every time it will subtract 1 from that. And if I refresh this here, you will see the output as a 10 to 1, and in that case means whenever you have to decrease the value, you have to use the decrementing. Whenever you have to increase the value, you have to use the increment operator. If you want to change the value by some other value, you can use assignment operator. I will say plus is equal to 2. So it will add, every time it will add 2 in the value. And oh, something is wrong. Okay, condition is false. Since I used plus operator, I should use minus operator, right? That's why. And stopped and refresh. Okay, this is not getting stopped. Exit page. I will say exit page. I will refresh here. You will see that difference up to 10. After 10, it will subtract two values, means number 2 from 10, and it will return me 8. Until it reaches to the 0, we are getting alternate value because of this operator. So you can use any assignment operators based on the condition, what condition you are using, but this is how a loop works. Similarly, we can use the for loop also. For loop also, we have to do the same. We have to say initialization, condition, increment, decrement in one go. Means what? For loop allow you to define everything here. I will say let x is equal to 0. Okay, here. And again, you immediately after the initialization, you have to mention x is less than 10 condition here. And whether you are going to increment or decrement the value, you have to say that in this way. And then you have to write the block of code. So I will say document dot write, whatever the block to be executed, you have to say here. I will say print x plus break. Okay, I will say break. I'm just passing a break tag, so it will break the output on HTML. And you can see the output like this. Since I started with 0, it will be, or it is showing me 0 as a first value. But if I change this to 1, so you will see the output like this. This is how loops works. This is what the initialization, this is what the condition, and this is what the increment or decrement in for loop. Both the loop has same structure, but the way of writing is different. Both are going to do the same. Yes, both are going to do the same operation. Both are going to execute the same lines of code for multiple times. This is what the purpose of loop. Okay, I will talk on these for in and for out loop when I will talk about the array and map or objects. Okay, so just understand the syntax of loop. These are the advanced loop, or there are many other ways to iterate. So every execution of block is called iteration, and loop is going to iterate 10 times over the x. Okay, this is how it works. So now you are familiar with loop. Once you got an idea about conditional statement and loops, you can go for writing a function. What is a function? Function is nothing but a block of code, right? Actually, what will happen if we write the code here in this way, and whenever we try to refresh the page, it will execute the code. I wanted to put some restrictions, or I wanted to execute that specific code when I want, or whenever I call it, right? Means function is defined in such a way that it's a block of code, okay, or it's a block of code, block, okay, I will write block of code, or I can say the set of instruction is nothing but statement, okay, instruction, set of instructions, instruction or block of code executed when it is called. Okay, so in a JavaScript, if you want to create a function, you have to use the keyword called a function, and then you have to write the name. Whatever you want, you can add the name to the function. I will say addition function. Okay, I will say addition function. This function is going to add the values of two numbers. Okay, and after that I will say block, and inside a curly bracket I have to say number of lines. So I will say let x is equal to 10. I will say let y is equal to, just to perform various tasks based on the requirement, or if you want to use the same code for the multiple values, we can use the add function. How to use the add function I will show you, but we are going to see the basic function. This function is called function without parameter. Okay, first, whatever we have seen, or whatever the body we have written, this function is called function without parameter. I will say document dot write, okay, and I will say x plus y. Okay, this is what the function. Great. So now if I refresh the page, you will not get output. Why? We have created a function, right? We have created a function, but this function will not get executed until we call it. And how to call the function? We have to pass the function name followed by parenthesis. This is the way to call the function, or it is also called as a invoking function, or invoke function. So this is the one of the one, not one of the way. Okay, this is the way to invoke the function. Until you write this line, your function will not be called. And now you will get the output as a 30 on your page. Okay, this is function. What we can say that without parameter. Function without parameter. Next is function with parameter. So parameter is nothing but a variable which we have to pass when we have to declare. Okay, when we declare the function, we can pass the variable here in the parenthesis. That is what called parameter. I will say a and b. Okay, I will say a and b. Instead of passing the static value, I want value from user. Okay, I want value from user. We can do that also, but here means when function is going to be called, I want the values of a and b. This is what the parameter. Writing way to get the parameter value, I will say a and b here. So this a and b is called a parameter, right? But for these two parameter, we have to assign the value whenever we call the function. So I will say 10 plus 20. right? And here you can see that A and B is referred here directly. Means this 10 is assigned to the A, this 20 is assigned to the B, and you will get, or I will change this 2020. Okay, I will change this 2020, and here you will get the output as a 40. Here you will get the output as a 40. So like this, we can write any number of code to get some specific output to transform the data in any of the function, and simply we have to declare the function only once, and we can use the same function for any number of times with different output. So I will say, I will call this function also, I will say add. Okay, I will say add 30. I can call this function any number of times. Means the code reusability is achieved by using function also. This will help us to write once and use multiple times. Whenever you require, you can call this function from anywhere from this script, and you have to write. So it will return me as a, okay, that is what happening, because we are not going to break that values. Okay, and so I will write here, and here you can see that first function call is going to give me the output as a 40, sorry, 2020 plus 2020 is equal to 40, 2030 is equal to 50, and 40 is equal to 80. So this is what going to do for me. This is what the function with parameter, and the values passed to that parameter is called argument. Okay, so what I can say, parameter is a variable defined, okay, defined inside, I can say inside function parenthesis, okay, parenthesis, and argument is a values passed while invoking a function, value passed while invoking a function to the parameter. This is how we can define the parameters and arguments. Okay, this is what we can define. So now you got a clear picture, but this is what the two types of functions we have seen: function with parameter, functions with parameter, function without parameter. Next function type is function with return. Means this function, as of now, we have seen that this function is directly going to print the value on the document, but sometimes you need a function that is, or sometimes you need to use the output of function in your further code. Okay, means I wanted to pass the output of that function, this function, from this line of code. So I will say document.write. I don't want to pass the value from there, so I will say document.write. But here I wanted to return the value. Function with return, we are going to see return keyword. Okay, I wanted to return the value. Okay, what it is going to do? So JavaScript has a return keyword that is used to return the value by function. So function is going to return me A plus B. Okay, so this will return the value, and we can use that value anywhere in your code. Okay, so I will say let z is equal to, I can store that value in any of the variable, or I can pass the value to the document also. So I will say, or I would like to prefer to store the value in a z. So I will say add. I will say 10 and 20. This function will return 30 back to the caller, back to the Caller is z variable. So from z variable, we are going to call this value. So it will return 30 and store, and I will pass this z to, okay, instead of 30, I will say 120. 120 I should get on my document, and we are getting 120. This is how it works. If you don't want to pass that z, yes, you can pass the function here also and call the function from that document dot write. It will return same. If I change this to 200, you will get 220 as output on screen. So this is how what the function with return keyword means. That function is going to return the output to the caller instead of doing some action. Function. Okay, what is wrong with this? Function with return type. This is what called. So these are the three types of functions we have seen: how to write a function, how to create a function, how to use the function. And what is the use of function? So code reusability is achieved by this. Unnecessarily, code will not be executed if you do not require. If you don't call this function, there is no use of this function. Means that code will not be executed unnecessarily. If we do not declare this return error, if we say, if you write any number of lines in this unnecessarily, if you don't require, that lines will be executed automatically. So to avoid that also, function is very helpful. So you will not get anything because we are not calling the function anywhere from our program. So now you are familiar with function. We have seen loops, we have seen conditional statement, we have seen data types, we have seen how to declare a variable, we have seen what are the different operators, how to output the Java into the browser. Okay, there are different ways. We have seen how to get the input from user. That is what also we have seen. And what is the use of JavaScript? That is also I have discussed, to change the HTML content of element, to change the HTML attribute value, to change the HTML document style, to hide and show the HTML element. How these things will be working, we will see in my you will see in my further videos. So I would like to stop here with function. This is what the complete basic of JavaScript. Once you know these basic, you are good to go ahead with further JavaScript programming. So in my next video, I will talk on this JavaScript object-oriented programming. Then I will talk on arrow functions and many use cases, or how JavaScript is used in different ways to make your web pages interactive. So thank you so much for watching the video. Do not forget to subscribe the web channel.